Good evening, one and all. This is the big one. It's the League One predictions for the 25-26 season. I don't care if I upset or offend you, I couldn't care less, but do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on today's predictions, where I'm going to get them all right. I'm convinced of it, 100% convinced about that. Like the video if you do go on to do so, subscribe if you want to, let's crack on. Now, unfortunately, there's always got to be a loser, and does every loser win the race though? Well, not for Exeter, they're 24th, they are, for me, the worst team coming into this season. I think at some point they're going to sack Gary Caldwell. They're going to end up sacking him after a bad run. They're going good ones and bad ones. I think because of how strong League One this season is compared to previous League One seasons, they are going to find themselves in a... they normally start well, but I think they're not going to start as well as they normally do, which means by November I think they're going to be in the relegation zone. They're going to sack him. And the performances weren't great last season, and the squad weren't great last season, and for me, the squad's got worse, the performances are going to get worse. 23rd, again, not good enough, it's Wimbledon. Now obviously they're not good enough if they're going down. I think the difference with Wimbledon is they will be able to grind out results. I think they'll pick up a lot of nil-nils, and it is going to be a tough place to go, but I think on the road, they're going to be abysmal. I think they're going to get wiped all over like toilet paper. I think that's how poor they're going to be, because they were poor in League 2 when they got promoted away from home, and I think at home there could be a case of getting found out, but there's no quality in the forward areas, there's no creativity in that team. They're good defensively, but you're not going to stay up just by being good defensively. You are going to have to give something off the on the ball. They're not going to give anything on the ball. Next, it's Northampton. Now again, they've stayed up. They've reached the highest place ever, I think, in this spell of being in League One. That under John Brady, got sacked last season. Kevin Nolan came in. Results improved slightly. They stayed up by the skin of the teeth. Performances again weren't great, and the squad, I think it's evened its way out, but like Exeter, it's a tougher league this season. I don't think they're going to get away with just scrapping it into survival again. Unfortunately, I don't see enough in the recruitment to be able to warrant them staying up. I think that the standouts are Dean Campbell from Barrow, who was an average. I think he was a solid League 2 player, bordering on average. Same with Forner. I liked him at Salford, but I don't think he's got the. I don't think he's going to have the grit defensively. I'm not keen on Northampton. They're going down, unfortunately. And then Peterborough, 21st. Now the difference with Peterborough and a lot of other teams in there, do they have it to dig in deep? When the going gets tough, can they grind out results? Can they get 1-0s? They can't. And it can't go on like this, can it? It can. It can keep going on this downward trajectory that Peterborough are on at the minute, and I think they needed a bit of a change in recruitment model, maybe a change in backroom staff as well. That they needed a change, they needed a refresh, did Peterborough, and a lot of teams in League One this summer have gone with a refresh. Peterborough haven't, have gone with the same old, and at recent times it's proven that is not the way that they need to operate, and I think it's going to catch up with them. They've lost key players in the forward areas that they haven't replaced, and defensively that needed improving. So they need to improve the defence, they need to replace the forwards who they've lost, who were key to keeping them up. Just staying up again is Burton. They're kings at a 20th place in League One, and I think they're just going to do it just because them four are worse. I think it's simply that there's four worse teams. I think that the difference with Peterborough and Burton is, I think Gary Bowyer will be able to grind the results out, and I think he'll be able to give a mentality like last season where they just dig their heels in and they get through games. Don't if you can't win it, don't lose it. And I think that's the difference with, I think the first three, 24th to 22nd, they don't have the quality, whereas Peterborough, I don't think they have the intelligence to do that. I don't think they have the experience to do that. Burton, with Gary Bowyer, and obviously the run they went on last season, I think they'll continue that. But there's going to be a lot of tough spells for Burton, and it may come quick, but they're going to have the ability to dig the heels and get out of it. 19th, I've got Rotherham. Now, downward trajectory is what Rotherham are. I think it could turn quite quickly if they don't have a quick start. Complete shock. But they finished 13th. That should have been so much lower, but that's how it can end up. They had 59 points to win, 9 points, 10 points away from being relegated, and I think they're going to be within that. I think they're really going to be within that. I think they'll maybe just reach 50 points. I don't see enough improvement in the recruitment. I don't see enough in the squad. Yeah, they might grind out some nil-nils, and I think that's what will keep them up ultimately, because I don't think they have the the quality throughout that team. 18th, I've got Port Vale. Now, Darren Moore, for me, is the type of manager who it's either going to be a great success or it's going to be a catastrophic failure, because he's a shocking manager. His style of play is turgid. I think his style of football is the worst in the FL, and there's a lot of managers, I hate tippy-tappy nonsense, but is as a combined mess. They haven't lost any of the key players. They haven't lost at all. They've got a core of a team there that were going to stay this next season, whether they're in League 2 or League 1. So they've kept the team. They've kept the core. I don't think they've improved it at all. I think that's where they're going to get dragged in at times of season. Then we'll see the mental resilience. And I think they've got that. We saw it last season. They went on bad runs. And particularly, I think they had a bad run in March period. And then they went on a winning run in April, which got them comfortably over the line in the end. But so I think that's going to be the difference. One place up is Doncaster, who finished one place up them in League 2 last season. The great manager in Grant McCann knows how to get the job done. They've got one of the best players in the league in Luke Molyneux for me. Concerns are in the back. They're in the back line. Jay McGrath can easily step up. He did have his injuries at the back end of the season. I have no problems with him. But Matty Pearson, coming in with a lot of criticism from Huddersfield fans, they had to get rid of him. I think he'll be decent most weeks, but I don't think he's nowhere near an improvement on Olerud, who they had to let go. We all knew that was going to happen. Sterry is solid enough, but there were question marks on that back line in the last 2 seasons in League 2, and they did improve slightly last season, well, massively last season, because that was the big reason why they were nowhere near a lot of the time in the 23-24 season until the end with that great run. I've seen an own goal I can say, but I'm not taking that into account in pre-season. But like I said, I think that the squad's very solid all round. This is a great finish for Doncaster. They need stability in League 1, and then they can go again and challenge, and I think that's what they will do. 16th, Stevenage. They are just going to be solid. They're not going to concede. Maybe a lack of creativity in there, but they've got a sturdy back line. Revell, again, question marks on him, but Stevenage are going to be absolutely fine. No danger of relegation, and they're one of those teams that are always underrated because they're not a big team. They're nowhere near a big side in League 1, but they're going to grind out results, and that's all you can ask. And they've got the makeup of a squad that will fit, will be organised, and they're just going to know what they're going to be able to do. 15th, Lincoln City. I have massive respect for Lincoln, obviously being a Bradford City fan. They are sort of a team you always want to do well, for obvious reasons. But Lincoln, they're always going to be safe in League 1, because I think the big concerns were the back line, with Paudie O'Connor and Rohan going to Huddersfield, that they were big question marks of what is going to happen to Lincoln. Now they have been the absolute solidity of a back line that you can imagine, and how are they going to replace them? And they've replaced them with Sonny Bradley and Riley Towler. That is what you've got to do, and that's what they've gone and done. Still, I think you're looking a bit more going forward. I think they still need a bit of quality going forward. They still need a bit of star power in that team to be able to push on for the playoffs. But whilst they do what they do, whilst they're going to keep doing what they're doing, they're always going to be League 1 mid-table side. 14th, Bradford. My team, Bradford City. I think this is a fairly I think this is unbiased. I think this is realistic, and this is where I'd expect us to be mid-table with what we've done. We've brought in a lot of experience that we can dig in, and I think one thing that we can't take pre-season into account, and I haven't looked at anyone else's because I don't want to do that, but with Bradford City, what I've seen is we've won all our games, barring one against Chorley 0-0, and that were a bit disappointing, but it's early on. But the two with Oldham and Middlesbrough is the fact that we didn't stop until the final whistle. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to be writing at teams. We have a never say die attitude. Graham Alexander's got the right mentality. He's a top League 1 manager for me, easily. And we've got the momentum. I don't think we've ever, in our history, got promoted and gone straight back down. I don't think we've ever done that. Even the Premier League, we did stay up that one season. So that's something. And the momentum, the fan base, the home form. I think, 2 games. I'm pretty sure we lost 2 games at home last season. That'll continue, no doubt about that. The Clout and Amber Wall will be back in force. Away form is where I have the concern, because we were shocking away from home last season, absolutely shocking. But we managed to get over the line through our home form, and that's what's going to happen again. I think home form, we may be one of the best home teams in the league. We have a bit of star power. It's Stephen Humphries, Andy Cook. He will come back firing. He will be heading towards 20 goals. He'll come back in October, and he will be the best Andy Cook you've ever seen. One place higher is, I think it's 13th, isn't it? Wigan. Now, the business is average. The team's average. The manager's slightly better than average. But I see average with Wigan, and that's why they're average in the table. Costello was shocking for Bradford City. He was one of the worst strikers I've ever seen, but he had the intelligence and he was young. And he's proven at Northampton, and when you look at his goals, he does look a bit of a player. But I don't see why they've spent that much on him. Personally, I think that is a bit of a waste of money. The back line will be sturdy. They won't concede a lot. I think that can be said for a lot of League One teams, to be honest. I think I've said it all video. They're not going to concede a lot. So I think this could be a very boring season. There could be a lot of 1-0s and 0-0s. But I think that's definitely what we can expect from Wigan, and that's why they will be comfortably safe in mid-table, and they might have a bit of a push. But and same can be said for Wickham now. There's star power. There's creativity. There's the back line, which is an unbelievable back line when you look at the players in there. But it's Mike Dodds, and he's the reason why they're mid-table, because he's just a shocking manager. So when you even it way out, he's the worst manager in the league. They've got one of the best squads in the league. They've got the best striker in the league in Kone. But if you have to average it out, they finish mid-table. 11th in the top half, it's a shock. It is a big shock. It's Cardiff, and there's more shocks to come. I think this is where it gets shocking now, because anyone can come anywhere. I really... Maybe from Bradford. I think anyone from Bradford to 4th could come anywhere. 5th, sorry. I think top 4 is pretty much certain, but I'm really undecided from everywhere from there. But I've got Cardiff in 11th because they are a bit of an unknown, and I'm looking at Huddersfield, I'm looking at Barnsley, I'm looking at even Bolton. There's been a lot of squads that on paper should be finishing top 2, but why were they relegated? Because of egos. Why would they relegate? Because they didn't put the effort in. There was a bit of a lack of quality maybe, but I think with Cardiff, they had a squad that should have stayed up. So why did they go down? Well, they didn't play for the managers. The owner's an absolute clown. You know, there's a bit of toxicity with the fan base as well. The momentum is down, and I think you can see that with a lot of teams that have come down from the Championship and then struggled in League One. The momentum's down. There's a bad atmosphere. There's a bad feel in the football club, and the players aren't ready to dig in. And they've kept the squad. They haven't brought anyone in. There's no fresh energy. Yeah, they've got a new manager, but they have a new manager every 3 months. They're like Watford. They're turning into Watford, and where Watford, they're languishing in the mid-table of the Championship, and that's where they deserve to be, because they aren't run properly and they're just not stable. And Cardiff are. So I just see a club that isn't stable, but a big name, big players, they could lose all the big players in August. Where are they then? Well, they're probably in a position where Rotherham are. Now you may be thinking, the team who had barely won, I think they won 1 or twice in 2025, they haven't been mentioned yet. Mansfield, the 10th. Now, Nigel Clough is a fantastic manager. He really is, and he's done a great job at Mansfield. And now I think it back, and maybe he leaves now. I think it was the end of his contract to sign a new one. Has he still got the hunger? And has he got the ability to rebuild the squad? That squad needed rebuilding, and they massively improved the squad. They had to get rid of a lot of ageing players, a lot of players who maybe legs were going, a lot of injuries in that squad as well. They brought in Jamie McDonnell. They brought in Bolton. They brought in Ryan Sweeney. These are 3 of the best signings in the league for me. They're up there. Jamie McDonnell especially, what a signing. He's going to be one of the best midfielders in League One next season, no doubt about that. My concerns are striking options and maybe creativity. I don't really see where the chances are coming from. I don't really see where the goals are coming from. I think Gregory's gone as well this season. You know, the striking power is not there, unless they bring someone in, but Clough said it ain't going to bring anyone in. They've got a good keeper as well, Roberts from Millwall. So I love the squad. I love Clough. I think they're going to be fine. They will put a push on for playoffs. I've no danger of relegation. They will have bad spells because Clough is streaky, but I think they're going to be absolutely fine. They've got a really good core, and they've massively improved that squad from last season, which were in this position in December. They're in this position, and they're so close to pushing on for playoffs or even staying in here, but they went on a shocking run for many different reasons. But I don't think they'll do that again this season. I think they'll be so fine, it's going to be like it's raining. 9th, I've got Blackpool. No goals or creativity, but a ridiculous back line. And I'm saying it. League One's going to be so bloody boring, isn't it? I was so excited until I did this video and I'm talking about defence and how solid everyone's going to be and the pragmatic managers. Well, maybe that's back to how it should be. Build your foundations at the back, be solid, find it hard to break down, and then if you can get a lucky goal from a corner, if you can scrap your way into the penalty box and just have a shot, just have a go. And I think that is what we're going to see. I think we're going to watch teams have a go by being pragmatic, because you start with your foundations, you know you're solid at the back, and then you can express yourself in the final third. They've lost the key players in the forward line. They've brought Niall Ennis in, I wasn't exactly 100% on anyway in terms of being a top League One striker, but they're just not. They don't have that star power, and for me that's why they're going to fall short of the playoffs. But they're going to give it a good go. 8th, Barnsley. Now I didn't expect to put Barnsley this high until I looked at the difference, and I've been talking about defences and being solid. Barnsley aren't going to be that. But what they have got is David McGoldrick, the best striker in League One, maybe. He will be in the top 5. He was the best player in League 2, but by a mile. He's going to be one of the best players in League 1. He's just a ridiculous footballer who... He is ridiculous. He's going to get Barnsley so many points by just having a crack on the edge of the area, but so can Kelly Dunn. And he's a ridiculous player. He's the best player in League 1. Caelan Vickers is going to be the star player from League 1 this season. Mark my words. I have no doubt about that. I watched him play for Mansfield quite a lot last season. I've also watched his compilations, but I watched his full games. He has the work rate to go with his flair, his trickery, his technique, his skills. He's going to be that player who everyone's talking about from League 1, and then he'll get the Championship move. He might follow in the Louis Barry footstep. Maybe he's a bit of a similar player. I can't wait to watch him, but I'm fearing him playing against Bradford City 100%. And then backline, Jack Shepherd's come. He's like a new signing, but that's where they need to improve. They need to keep the midfielders, but that squad right now I think can put a push on for playoffs, but they need to improve that backline. Now, near misses. It is Reading. They've nearly missed going out of the Football League entirely and going bust. Very near miss, and they've just had a near miss of getting the playoffs, and they did last season. They were so good, so solid. Mentality is a big thing, and I think they're going to continue that. They've got that striker coming in on loan whose name has just escaped me, but he's going to be a really good player for them. Centre backs have gone. Mbengu, is it, in Yayadum or Bindon, Bindon I think it was. Them two have gone, which are big misses, but Paudie O'Connor's come in, who will be one of the best, if not the best centre back in League 1 next season. So I don't have too many problems with that. I think that, again, really solid squad. Hunt did a great job at the back end of last season, coming in with pressure, and I'm not going to say it because it's all over now, but what pressure. In 6th I've gone Plymouth because they are hard to call. I don't know where to put them. Tom Cleverley, I watched Man City v Watford, and Tom Cleverley's tactics didn't impress me. They were playing out from the back again at the Etihad against Man City, and they got absolutely, they couldn't play out. And I think that is going to be something that Plymouth are going to struggle with in League 1 this season. The high presses are going to be a thing, and I think anyone who does put on a high press at home, Plymouth are going to struggle. At Owen Park, I think it is Owen Park anyway, at their ground, I think they'll be fine with it. Although, it's a traditional tough place to go because they're very gritty, and it's not a nice place to go in the winter time, is it? So does that really suit Plymouth? I'm not sure, but I think Cleverley, he has got it up there. It is adaptable, so I don't think it's a bad appointment. I just don't think it's necessarily the right fit, and I think he's passing out from the back. We'll get caught out away from home, out of Valley Parade, and but there's still a lot of quality. But they have lost a lot of quality. Ryan Hardy, we're talking about big players in the back line as well, whose name has escaped me. But there's big ones. They are big boys. No worry about that. But so they've lost big players there, but they had a lot of depth in that squad as well, and they are well accustomed to League 1. They are going to be fine in this division. They will be putting on a push, but I can't say I have enough faith in them than 5 other teams. And one of those 5 teams in 5th, I've got Leyton Orient. Richie Wellens, for me, is definitely one of the best managers in the league, if not the best. It is so adaptable. It's so tactically astute. One week, but the players don't know what they're doing. They carry it out. They're so disciplined. They're so structured. They're so organised. and that is what's going to be so hard to be able to beat and break down Leyton Orient this season. But I think everyone's talking about the departures. Yes, they're big, but when they were arrivals, we didn't know how big of an arrival they were, really. You know, they were made by Richie Ellens, and they're going to now be made by someone else, but they might not be that player because Richie Ellens crafted them to be what they were. So I think he can mould other players into that same mould. I think he's a great developer, player and man, and I think that's what we're going to see this season. But the big one is keeping Omar Beckles. You've got to be able to keep those players. If you can keep those and Richie Ellens, you're going to be fine. And for me, they're going to be absolutely fine. They can adapt to different opposition, and I think that's what is going to set them different. I think that's what's going to be the difference with Leyton Orient, and I think they'll be more than comfortable getting another playoff push. If I'm wrong, shoot me, but I'm going to be shooting you wrong in the comments because I'm going to be right, and I'm very confident in Orient and Richie Ellens. It is the Richie Ellens factor. Fourth, Huddersfield. Now, I don't think I can be called biased because watch the last 2 League One content videos that I did last week, and I had a lot of praise from Huddersfield fans basically saying I'm not biased, and I don't want to be biased because if I come across any way biased, I lose credibility. I don't want to lose that. Huddersfield have made the best signings, they've had the best window, but they have been a circus these last 3-4 years and longer, but particularly when Kevin Nagel's come in, it's been one like a circus. And he's still doing it. He hasn't learned from his mistakes. He's arguing with fans on social media. I'm seeing it every day. What's going on there? That's no way to win a fan base, because if it goes wrong immediately, he's going to be spouting off online. His big nose is going to get over the head of him, and it's going to rule his intelligence. I mean, he's just going to fall out with all the Huddersfield fans. That's not the way to do things, Kevin. You know, he's going to end up home alone at Christmas. I mean, Lee Grant, is he good enough? Question marks on him, and you know, I don't want him to lose his job, but I do because he's choosing the wrong club in Huddersfield. But at the end of the day, there's question marks on him. We don't know. I don't know his style of play. I haven't watched Huddersfield in pre-season. If you have a Huddersfield fan, let me know how you've been playing. But I haven't even looked at your results. But that is a big unknown. He plays Northern football, so it could be rugby. It could be rugby football. But you know, all jokes aside, that they are the concerns. It's Lee Grant and the circus that Huddersfield's been run by Kevin Nagel and the CEO. That I think they've had a refresh in that department, which has worked with the signings. But you know, they're all big names, but are they going to be able to fill the big boots? We're going to have to see. But I think the refresh was needed, and fourth is going to be a good season after being so abjectly poor in mid-table. So they were so average it run through for what were a team that should have been a top 2 side. And in third, I've got Stockport. Now, Stockport, I wanted to put them top 2 because every time they finish in the playoffs, they then get automatic promotion, but they never finish outside the playoffs. Stoke write them off. They're in talks to sign Nathan Lowe. What a signing that would be to replace Olarafe. Muzafil's come in. I've spoke about how impressed I've been with the transfer window already, so I'm not going to do it again. But that shows to me that it's a football club run right. And I have full faith in Dave Challoner. They're going to be organised. It's very similar to Orient, but they've got a stronger squad and a bit more depth to them now again. And they just rebuild Stockport every season, and they rebuild them better. But they do it so finely tuned that you don't really recognise it's such a big rebuild. If you look at the squad 2 years ago, it's completely different. If you look at the squad 3 years ago, it's another universe. Look at the squad last year, it's not massively different. And that's what they're going to do. By the time they're in next season, it's going to be there's going to be no names you remember from 2 seasons ago when they first came into League One. That's what they do. And it's so good. But Dave Challoner's the big one. Second, I've got Bolton. And what I like about what Bolton have done, they needed a refresh. Refresh they have. And again, it is another big difference with having a manager who can motivate a player, having a manager who can organise a squad. And Stephen Schumacher's done it in League One before. Can he do it at Championship level? I think he can, given time and resource, which he didn't get at Plymouth in terms of resource, and he didn't get time at Stoke. And I think this is a project that he's going to relish at Bolton, and he can take them back to where they belong. But they just missed out on playoffs last season. I expect them to get it at times. But what they've done is they've brought the average age down. They've brought in a lot of youth and energy who are going to be, you know, ready to learn, ready to develop under Schumacher. And he loves working with players with high potential, and he's going to get the best out of them and develop them over this next season. And he likes to play high energy, high pressing, and that's key for that. And I just like the makeup of the squad. And also getting rid of anyone who might have an ego, anyone who thinks they're better, anyone who's been part of failure, get rid of them. And let's rebuild Bolton in our own fashion. And Bolton are going to profit off teams playing out. They're going to profit out of teams who are having an off day. And that for me can be the difference between 5th and 2nd, because you're organised to set that out, and you have a motivated squad and manager who's set on one thing, and that's promotion. And I think Bolton are going to achieve that with flying colours, and you know that is a bit of an out there prediction because no one's have it. I haven't seen anyone have Bolton top 2. Well, there you are, and come to me when I'm right. You're simply the best, Luton. And Bloomfield again, top manager, but that squad, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, Doherty's gone today. There will be departures, but they can replace it like that. They've got 60 million to spend. A lot of it's going on Kenilworth Road, which I appreciate. And, building your facilities up and making sure you are stable and you are well structured outside the pitch as well as on it. But they have the squad to go again. They have the manager to go again. They have the infrastructure based around them now. This is a team that are ready to attack this league and attack it. They're going to do. They're gonna rip it to shreds. Could it go wrong? Well, yeah, anything can. You know, you could be on you could walk out the house and get run over. So you might think I'm just popping for some milk. You get run over. Your day's gone. Well, your life's gone. So anything can go wrong. What you think's a walk in the park. You know, you could literally drown in the park. So that can happen. Luton could maybe set back-to-back relegations. You've got to think about it now because you've been scarred from it happening last season in the Championship, and a lot of people have done the predictions on that. And I thought they were going to win it, and I didn't do it, but I can hold my hands up and say that. You can, even though you didn't do a video on it. And I know you didn't. Yes, you sat there with your pot noodle and your cup of tea, dipping it as you speak, yes. I've choreographed you. I'm not going to guess your name. And that's the quality of League One. Yeah, big teams, you have small teams, and I can't wait for it to start on Friday night with Luton, who I'm predicting to win it, and Wimbledon, who I'm predicting to go down. And I've flicked and turned them between Wimbledon, and all the teams in the top bottom 6-7 region, and the top 4 as well. That's been the biggest manoeuvring, and 14th to 5th. Basically, I've flicked and turned this table. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on your predictions. Don't be afraid to do yours. I haven't been afraid to do mine, but again, I couldn't care less if you disagree. All the better for the algorithm, innit? So keep disagreeing with me. Like the video if you did, and subscribe if you're new for more League One content coming this season. Have a good one.